the concept of gold. It is the kryptonite to the US dollar in the Western system, is the antithesis of what central bankers do by creating money out of thin air, and the fractional reserve system and the ability to keystroke money into existence. It's unethical, it's immoral. You should have to do something to earn money, to give it value, and what gold is proof of work. It's proof of it took work to get the gold out of the ground into a refined product. But it used to be under something in economics called Gibson's paradox, which is the inverse relationship between real interest rates and gold. And if you suppress interest rates, then gold should become very, very attractive. The theory behind it loosely is that because gold doesn't pay any interest, if you have high interest rates, people will buy treasuries with safety and a yield. If you have non-existence interest rates, why then gold and silver should really take off, because there's no opportunity cost. And that was the way it used to be. That's what kept people in the Western system and enabled the fiat system to create money and to enslave half of humanity in debt. Well, it's changed from that, and I think it's changed because there was a time when everyone just wanted U.S.-based assets, commodity, securities, real estate, bonds, and so that's not the case anymore. And I think they've gone from a period of suppressing the price of gold and silver to keep everyone happy buying U.S. treasuries and U.S. assets and Western assets, into suppressing the price so that they can massively drain the shelves of all the physical supply. And this is globally. So you have big money holding down the paper price with leverage, while at the same time accumulating the physical. They're doing that because most people never look past the, they don't open up the hood and look underneath. They don't look past the price. And so if you can make the price volatile and keep it suppressed under moving averages, volatility and low performance makes no one want to buy it. At the same time, if price and this volatility was any indication of value and demand, then who the hell is draining the world's supply? Why is it the lowest supply in the history of the London Metals Exchange for silver since they started keeping inventory records? Why is it that over 75% of all the silver on the COMEX market that is available for delivery has been delivered over the past 18 months, whereby another way of saying that is the registered stockpile has been bled down by over almost 75%, from 135 million ounces down to 34 million. So it's disappearing. And who's buying it all? Where in one day, one investor can pull 26 million ounces of gold off the COMEX, or 45% of all the kilo bars backing the COMEX mini contract, or 5% of all the 100 ounce gold bars. Who's got this kind of money? And if value was an indication of price, things would be very different than they are, or demand rather was indicative of price. I mean, what you're seeing is the shelves being bled dry through misdirection. Through suppression of price. It's the no look pass in basketball. They're suppressing the price, enabling them to drain the world's commodity complex literally to the bone. And then when there's no longer a bid price, then they'll let it go, because no one will sell it at these absurd prices. Or when, like for example, the Russians are talking about issuing, on behalf of the Eurasian continent, a new exchange in Moscow that will, as they even came out publicly and said, challenge the manipulation of the COMEX and the London Metals Exchange. All they would need to do is, day one, peg gold to $3,000 an ounce and silver to $50 an ounce, and bang, everything would arbitrage eastward. All of it would go that way to collect that huge premium, and the COMEX and the London Metals Exchange would be broken and obsolete forever. And I think that's on the horizon too. That's part of the playbook for the BRICS.
Wow. So suppressing the price enables them to buy gold and silver en masse. And so what does that mean for us? Because when I talk to people about investing, I don't know if investment is the right word, but rolling over their money or the fiat dollars and their IRAs into precious metals, they ask me, what is the benefit for them to do that? I say because as the USD lowers in value, then precious metals increase in value. But what is another answer for why they should invest in precious metals?
Because precious metals, gold and silver, first of all, aren't even investment to me. They're wealth. They're wealth that have outlived 2 world wars, German hyperinflation, the Great Depression, every pandemic, and are still immutable. They are wealth that are being accumulated by the most well-funded, well-informed, influential, sophisticated traders on the globe who are draining, literally draining, the supply of all of the gold and silver. And they are misdirecting us with rhetoric and price. The sophisticated money is always 3-4 steps ahead of the public. The public is looking, it's like I talk about skiing. It's one of my favorite things to do. I don't know if you've ever gone skiing, Tia,
No.
but when you ski, they teach you to never look at the tips of your skis, look 5 feet out. It's like when you drive a car, you don't look at the emblem on the hood, you look 20, 30, 40, 50 yards in front of you. The same thing with skiing. If you look at your tips, you'll cross them. So you focus your energy down past the tips of your skis so that you can navigate what's coming in front of you instead of keeping your face right here and bang, you run into the tree because you're looking at your tips. So the point of it is that the big money is using the misdirection of price and of rhetoric to accumulate and make everyone who is well-read and smart, just not reading maybe the right stuff, or not listening to the right commentators, doesn't decrease their intellect. You know, there's a million things that people are smart with or understand. Not everyone spends the time to understand what's going on here, but the bottom line is this. The biggest money in the world is using that to accumulate and to reposition out of the dollar.
Yes.
And when the central banks are on the biggest buying spree that they've been on, literally in 50 years of gold and silver, that should tell you something. When in the third quarter of this last year, over 400 tons were delivered out of the country, sent out of the country to country, and Bloomberg and Reuters surmises it's Russia, Saudi Arabia, China, and India buying it. Well, where have we heard those names before? Oh, yeah, the BRICS. So they came out, 400 tons were sold. That's double the biggest third quarter ever. 700 tons already, over 700 tons for the year. That's bigger than any year since 1967. That's leaving the United States, so off of our exchanges. So the biggest money in the world is using this price to reposition. And either you stick with your recency bias and conventional wisdom, or you trust your gut, you being the people you're talking to.
Yes.